I come back from Vietnam. While I was gone for a year and a half. 6 months of training, or 5 months of training, and 13 months of combat. And I'm out of the service. I was 19 years old. I came back to my little town on the border of Kansas, Oklahoma. Now, when I came back, I find out these people are burning cars. In these little small communities, they're burning cars. When a white teacher, at that time, how do you say it? At that time, when Mike is bad, I'm sitting in my booth, my little desk, and I'm teasing the girl in front of me. The teacher will grab me by the arm, drag me out to the principal's office. Okay. That's the mindset at that time. Now, teachers are scared to touch the students. And one of the reasons is because a white teacher would grab the arm of a black student and drag him off. I mean, it's okay to drag off the Chinese kid, but the black kid, you don't do that. They drug him off to the principal's office and they burned the teacher's car. And that became kind of a MO, method of operation. In other words, you mess with the black folk, in other words, what they conceive as being messed with. I say, I mentioned when I went down south there, these old men would whack me on the back of the head when I did stupid stuff. And like I say, the teacher would grab me by the arm and drag me off. And like I say, that's not because I'm Chinese you can do it. That's because that's what's done. I didn't have a dorky attitude. When the racial problems started going, it's the blacks started getting these weird attitude. And that weird attitude pushed over on the whites. So then the whites started having their weird attitude. And so it ended up they would go to that part. They wouldn't kill each other, but they would cut each other up and they would club people. I mean, it was a nasty thing when I came back. This is back in '69. And so now I just came from the jungles. I've been killing people, so I am not going to allow people to cut me and beat me. Not only it's even not moral, it's not right to do this stuff. And you're going to do it because I'm not your same skin color. I'm sorry. Now, you might be able to do that to some of these Chinamen that are geeks. You might be able to do that to them. But like I say, I just came from the jungles. So, in other words, when I came back, I don't even think I was back for 2 weeks. And they started this crap off on me. And I didn't really tell people. At that time, you didn't tell people you were in Vietnam. But you could look, I had the short hair. At that time, everybody had long hair. You see my body built. You can see the way I carried myself. You can see I wasn't the Chinese geek. And but some people are a little slow. So I had blacks that would torment me until they got within arm's reach of me. And then I had the same problem with the whites. And what they were doing, it really wasn't, and this is the part that's really weird, it really wasn't bullies. Yes, they were using bully tactics. In other words, it wasn't like one of them. It was 6, 8, 10, 20. And going up against one, me. And so they would use the same tactics, but they weren't doing it for the same reason. They were doing it strictly for the intimidation And how they looked at it is, you need to respect me. Now the first thing is, I don't disrespect you anyway. I don't even know you. But the thing is, you have to, they have problems somewhere. I don't know. And they're thinking they can come to me and bully me using their racial attitude. And like I say, in Vietnam, I talked about it, crappy Vietnam War stories, we would fight hundreds and thousands, 100 of us. So numbers don't really intimidate me, and they don't scare me. I know how to handle them, and I did. And like I said, I did it with the blacks, and I did it with the whites, because they both had that attitude. The funny thing was, it wasn't the majority of the people, it was a minority of the whites, the minority of the blacks. Most people want to get along, but you just have just plain flat assholes that just can't get along. And like I say, they're using bully tactics. Now, to stop this from going on, that was one of the, where I noticed where we took a big step as a government, the United States government, took a big step from going to a smaller government to a bigger, more intrusive government. At that time is when they became more like tyrants. The government, the United States government, started busing. They started making people do things they don't want to do. I forgot the name of it. But what it is, they make your business hire minorities, even though they weren't qualified to do it. Affirmative action. They started affirmative action. That's part of being a tyrant. They're making you do things that you don't want to do, and you will be fined. That's what they're going to do. They're going to fine you. And at this time, before, you got to remember, people used to respect our government, and they would go along with it. And so, and the one way of doing to make you go along with it, they would fine you. Nowadays, yes, they will fine you, but they'll also kill you. They that's why I can't get over, and that's going to be another video, is I've been seeing how the United States government, the police in particular, have been executing its people. Stuff that they shouldn't be doing. Like unarmed people, they would shoot them to death. Even when they're armed with a knife, you shoot them to death. They're executing. They're doing this on purpose. That's part of being a tyrant. And we're going to get more into that. But that's what I'm saying. That's what the change was real big on that. So with the affirmative action, we started putting people that weren't qualified into positions to do things, and that screwed things up more. And what happens, the government, and that's why I don't like bureaucrats, is governments and government employees, they back each other up. There is no way to oversee government officials because they oversee themselves. That doesn't work. That's why they're now capable of executing people. These police kill people and they don't go to jail. And we've seen it in Waco. We've seen it in Ruby Ridge. There's all kinds of places where we see it, and a lot of times they get promoted for doing this. So tyranny has been promoted when they started in the 60s, when they started doing the affirmative action and busing and stuff like that. they are making people do things that they don't want to do, and they're using force to make it happen. Now, so got me way off. I'm sorry. But when they started the tyranny stuff, they started making people do things, and because he is black, you can't do this, and it just went on like that, and that caused more heartache for the whites. And did Chinamen benefit out of this? No, Chinamen didn't. So it's just strictly going for the blacks. So they're favoring whatever, and that's not the American way. The American way is using strong individuals, and we come together and we do things. And this wasn't. You're bringing somebody on the outside that is not qualified to do it, and he'll be sometimes they'll be put in leadership positions, and that's why they make bad judgments. They don't know how to make judgments. Okay. That's all causing problems on everybody when they're doing it like that. Your business, and if you're working for someone and your little group, most of the time while he's been in different groups, and now your group has an outsider come in to supervise your group, that would be good if they were qualified. If they're not qualified and they bring this outsider in, it's bad on morale. You're not going to get things done properly. And if you all are going to keep your jobs and make money, you all are going to have to cover each other's asses when everybody screws up. And that's what you do in your work, in your whatever work you're doing. They're doing the same thing as bureaucrats. They're doing the same thing in the police departments. They're doing the same thing in government officials. As a matter of fact, now they're doing it in the military also. Everybody's covering their ass. It has nothing to do with being morally strong. Can you see how morals has nothing to do with any of this other than the person that the bully or the tyrants are putting the pressure on? The only one that has the morals is the one that's being victimized. And that's why a lot of people don't understand and realize to be moral doesn't mean you're on your knees. That's why I talk about we have a moral responsibility to be strong. We don't have no moral responsibility to be a sheeple or a zombie. Now that goes for the same thing as the people being told to do this and do that by the tyrants and the bullies. That also goes for the bullies and the tyrants. You have no moral responsibility to do that. When I was in the military, they told us even at that time, we do not have to follow immoral orders. Yes, as much of a tyrant as the military is, we did not have to follow immoral laws or orders. Now, that same thing applies to police. They do not have to follow immoral laws. But that's what they don't understand. Part of policing is making judgment calls. The law isn't the law is the law. That's bullshit. You use your morals. The laws are made for criminals, for bad people. When you use those laws to control, intimidate, and execute the population, you are a tyrant. You're not using any morals. This is Mike. NoStressMike.com.